Okay, hello everybody. My name's Brett Nugent. I'm 48 years old. I live on the Gold Coast of Australia. I'm a full-time personal trainer and group fitness instructor. My training background, I've pretty much played sports since I was a kid. So soccer for 10 years, played a bit of rugby when I came over to Australia from New Zealand. In the 90s, I did kickboxing for about 3 years. Also done karate as a young kid. Once I came to Australia, I began another martial art called Arakan. Did that for a couple of years. I did state representative dragon boating for 5 years. And I've just sort of gotten into my BJJ journey about 6 months ago. And I've also done a bit of CrossFit for about 5 years, got into the competitive CrossFit scene as well. Why did I initially join Edo's Movement and Warrior X programs? I think after functional training for so long with CrossFit for 5 years, I was looking for something a little different. And when I'd seen his videos of him just sort of jumping around in this animalistic fashion and just moving his body in all these different planes, I thought, this is cool. This is quite expressive and free-flowing. So I initially got the Movement X program and worked through that. And yeah, it completely changed my outlook on how to keep fit by just moving however you wanted to move your body, by learning all these positions and movements and then letting them flow together and not thinking too much about a rep scheme or a set program. It was just more to do with feeling what my body wanted to do. Why did I choose Edo's program specifically over any other program? I think initially because I had a functional training background and was very curious about the movement culture, to see him moving so well in his movement training, but still be quite strong and high performance with his strength training, that this was kind of the path that I wanted to go down, to be good at functional training and strength training, but still be a good mover. So I decided to jump on board with his programs. I love the fact that in his movement training, he also integrated martial arts and dance components, which were two sort of parts of my life that I love to keep in touch with, even as I near 50 years old. Dance is a big part of having fun, and martial arts is a really good self-discipline to keep your mind sharp and body sharp. Was there anything in particular about our programs that really helped you, and why was it so effective? I think specifically with Movement X, I think obtaining the lizard crawl, which was a move that I'd seen and just couldn't really figure out, to go through his tutorials and see where the foot and hand placement needed to be to manage your body weight properly while transitioning. That was a huge accomplishment for me, to stay down into the low to the ground and then move along. And I also think with him incorporating martial arts, doing the hurricane kick, which was something I never thought I could do, especially learning it in my late 40s due to arthritis in my right knee. But the way he broke it down, just taking one step and then another step and a spin, and then another step and a spin and a kick, he broke it down really well so I could safely do it even with quite an unstable right knee. So I was really happy with his tutorials and the way he described how to move through these movements safely. How has my body changed or improved since following the program? Well, my mobility is quite amazing. My hip mobility allows me to get into deep squats, stay there and move in the deep squat. It's not just about going up and down, moving, dropping to my knees in a seated position and then back into the squat. Just exploring a lot of movement stuff that I never thought was sort of accessible once you've got in the squat. So it was quite eye-opener to see the options available while on the ground. And definitely with the functional side of training from Warrior X, my breathing mechanics was way better. To incorporate diaphragmatic breathing in my recovery times helped my performance be a lot better and my recovery obviously be more efficient. But yeah, I also love the fact that in his movement training, he got very primal, like in the brain. You could see he was trying to be that animal. So that really brought out a new perspective in training to actually become the animal that you're trying to emulate. And if you're thinking of joining any of the programs, especially Movement X or Warrior X, I would say to you to really to go for it. If you haven't been in the movement culture, it's a great way to expose yourself to it. There's a lot of different tutorials. You can go through the tutorials in any order that you like, which is a great freedom. And really just look at movement training as a play session, kind of like almost as if you're playing with your children, because this really did transfer over to me and my kids. We would go to the park or the beach and I would do what I learned in the Movement X program, and my kids would just follow along because they just thought I was just playing around. So yeah, it was amazing new way to look at what training is. It can be spread out over the day as healthy movement patterns, or it can be a sharp hit training session with weights to get your cardiovascular system to a new level, which is what Warrior X did for me. But I highly recommend both of those programs, and I've definitely become a better mover and a more interactive dad when it comes to my children. In the playground, I'm playing with them, and that's huge. Those are awesome moments that I'll treasure with my kids.